We start the show with Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, Democrat of Rhode Island. Senator, let's start with the spending bill. You voted against cloture on the resolution. Can you tell us why?
I just couldn't bring myself to vote for the so-called continuing resolution. It wasn't even a real continuing resolution. It was sort of a Musk and Trump and House Republican power play that they put out, calling it CR. Never consulted Democrats, no hint of bipartisanship. So I just couldn't bring myself to do it. But I really grieve where we are right now, because we have got to put this behind us and move forward. There was a very, very strong case that a shutdown in the hands of a maniac like Russell Vought, who runs the Office of Management and Budget, and Musk and Trump would do practically permanent damage to this republic. And it would have been the fight of our lives to hold them off. So I don't really believe that people who haven't looked hard at what contingency planning and essentialness determinations and reduction in force power leaves those people to make a firm judgment that this really is a difference between standing up and caving in. This was a terrible choice that the Republicans forced on us. And the sooner we get back to fighting Trump, we got to end the fight in the dugout, get back on the field, and start scoring some runs.
That seems to be a lot of the problem here, because as one hand, some Democrats are criticizing Minority Leader Chuck Schumer's decision to vote for the Republican spending bill, as you mentioned. And Senator Schumer had said a shutdown would only empower President Trump and Elon Musk in their effort to radically slash government services. What's your take on the debate inside your party right now?
That it does nobody any good but Trump. And the sooner we can, everybody has said their piece now. Everybody knows where everybody stands. Now it's time to pipe down, knock it off, and get back to work. Get back to the work of fighting Trump, fighting Musk, and reclaiming this government as they try to tear it down.
Now, while the Senate was averting a government shutdown yesterday, President Trump delivered a norm-breaking speech at the Department of Justice where he rehashed his past grievances and vowed to expose his enemies. It is sadly no longer surprising that this president would address the country's top law enforcement officials in such partisan ways. But you, as a member of the Senate Judiciary Committee, what is your response to it?
Yeah, well, I was also a U.S. attorney, Reverend. So the tone and the content of what this president said was absolutely disgusting to me. Talking about using the Department of Justice to persecute, he used that word, his political enemies, calling them thugs and scum, and then having his attorney general stand up and say, we're all here to obey your directives, Mr. President. Well, that's not what the Department of Justice is about. It's about defending the Constitution, it's about enforcing the law, and it's about impartially administering justice, not following Trump's directives to go after and persecute people he's crazy enough to think are scum and thugs just because they disagree with him.
And he used those terms in the speech right there at the Justice Department.
He used those terms in his speech.
Now, Senator, you held a virtual town hall earlier this week to sound the alarm about what this administration and DOJ is doing to Social Security. A lot of our viewers and listeners are concerned about this. We're seeing more and more Americans turning out for community forums, especially in Republican districts, demanding answers about the mass government layoffs and interruptions to vital government services. Do you get the sense that many voters are getting fed up with the chaos being caused by President Trump so far in his second term?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think polling numbers show it. And I think the fact that Republicans can't go and have a town hall themselves any longer because they've angered their constituents so much also shows it. People, I think, are fed up with this. And the danger to Social Security, I think, is very real. You know, watch that carefully. Trump lies And one of his lies is that he won't touch Social Security. But he sent in Musk and those doggy boys, the muskrats, to wreck up stuff in Social Security. And the former commissioner, Governor O'Malley, says that the wreckage that they're doing will lead to interruptions in benefits. And at that point, he comes in and says, oh, look, I broke Social Security. We have an emergency. Let's fix it. Let's get the private equity people and the big data people in here to run Social Security.
Senator, how would you sum up the president's first days, going toward his first 100 days? Tariffs, inflation, a cost of eggs. How would you, with all of these problems, one right after another, how would you sum up where we are?
I would say a deliberately created disaster. And whether it's what's happened to Ukraine and taking the side of the tyrant against the freedom fighters. I mean, Reverend, imagine if Franklin Delano Roosevelt had said to Winston Churchill, I'm cutting you off for Lend-Lease, cut the best deal you can with Hitler, and by the way, don't expect to keep your whole island.
Wow. I think that's about as direct as you can get an answer on the Ukraine position of President Trump. Thank you for being with us, U.S. Senator Sheldon Whitehouse of Rhode Island.